Commissioner Eaton?
Here.
Commissioner Moreland Hikuya? Here. Commissioner Myers?
Here.
Chair Kelly?
Oh, thank you. He's not here. All right. Thanks, and please bear with me. Okay, so first of all, Commissioner reports. I will note that I did not bring my list, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But I have attended a number of meetings on behalf of the PDC over the last month, including the Increase Project graduation ceremony and meetings related to the new executive director. Commissioner Elin?
I attended the White Rose and Advancing Racial Justice, Mar Memorial Trust Affordable Housing Finance convening, an OMSI meeting on their development project. Had the opportunity to tour the first CLT building, and that's it.
Thank you.
So it's about what we've done, not what we will do.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Nothing.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Meyer.
In July, I attended the Oregon Convention Center Headquarters Hotel celebration at the Altabura. Attended the Oregon State Building Trades Convention August 10th through the 12th. That's former Commissioner Mullis was handing the mantle to his replacement. And then, of course, the groundbreaking of the new Broadway Tower.
Great, thank you. Okay. Next up, we'll have the Executive Director report. Ms. Brown.
Thank you. I'd like to open my comments by announcing that this will be my last Executive Director report. The board last week announced the selection of Kimberly Branham as PDC's next Executive Director. Kimberly will start her new role on Monday, August 22nd. I want to congratulate Kimberly, only the third woman to be named PDC Executive Director in the agency's almost 60-year history. I'm confident that she'll do an outstanding job. I want to thank the board, the mayor's office, and city council for their support during my time as the interim executive director. Thank you all very much. And I especially want to thank the PDC staff for continuing to perform at their usual high level during this transitional time for the agency. And speaking of great work by staff, I want to acknowledge their efforts in Gateway. The Gateway Action Plan was approved by City Council last Wednesday, August 10th, by a 5-0 vote. Many people have been involved in this effort, and I specifically would like to thank Justin Douglas, Susan Kuhn, Lila Aman, and Allison Wicks. I'd like to invite everyone to attend the Jade District's annual night market events. The night market will be held Saturday, August 20th and 27th. And you can go to the jadedistrictnightmarket.com for more information on the event. I want to acknowledge John Jackley, PDC's Director of Communications and Social Equity. John will be honored by the Hispanic Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce on September 8th with their Latino Community Service Award. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. All right, the next item will be approval of prior meeting minutes for April 20th and May 11th. And there's Chair Kelly. So why don't we go ahead with that item while Chair Kelly arrives. So do we have any comments regarding the draft minutes? If not, then I would accept a motion to approve the draft minutes.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Unanimous.
You sound pretty good. Should we elect a new chair?
Shoes are too big.
Not only did I leave the office late, I drove to the other place.
I walked to the place, too.
You did you? Well, that makes me feel...
Saved by Gina.
I think I have a record of on-time completion until today, I just have to say. Where are we?
We are at the number 5. Yes, number 5, public comment.
Have we got anyone for public comment?
Chair Kelly, do you have any commissioner reports you'd like to share?
You know, just a couple of quick ones. I enjoyed very much coming to the celebration for Gina at the office, and also enjoyed very much, as I'm out of breath here, the introduction of our new executive director to the staff the other day. Needless to say, we've had a lot of other meetings for summertime. It's supposed to be slow, but those are the two highlights for me. So, if we don't have any public comment, let's move on to the consent agenda. That just requires a motion, isn't that right?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second on item number 6, Report 1644, Resolution 7205. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item number 7.
Chair Kelly, before we get started, we did have one other announcement. Commissioner Cruz, did you want to?
Yes, birthdays. Correct. Sorry about that. I should have done that in the public comment. It is Commissioner Moreland Capuya's birthday this month.
Oh my.
And so we have a tradition of cupcakes. So thank you for reminding me, Justin.
This is your one public benefit.
And you have to claim it.
Yes.
Yeah, there's.
Or the IRS will be here to help.
How much was that?
Happy birthday, Commissioner. Let's move on to item number 7. This is a action item authorizing the purchase and sale agreement to convey 1.97 acres of real property in the River District and downtown waterfront urban renewal area to Wolf Enterprises. Eric Jacobson is going to tell us about this.
Good afternoon, Chair Kelly and Commissioners. My name is Eric Jacobson, Project Manager in the Real Estate and Lending team, here to present a purchase and sale agreement and ask that you approve Resolution 7203. This is for the Broadway Bridge property. The development partner is Wolf Companies. This is the first project PDC has partnered with them. They're a company out of Seattle. 2 of the representatives are here today, Chris Rossman and Rob O'Day, and they're prepared to talk about their plans for this property and answer any questions you may have of them. The result of approving this resolution will be to sell the property for $9 million, less some brokerage fees and also some incremental environmental costs I'll talk about. And the result is Wolf Company is planning to build approximately 340 apartments on the property. Approximately 68 of those will be affordable units at 60% of the median family income for at least 10 years. So just to give you an idea of where the property is located, in the downtown area, immediately under the Broadway Bridge and along Nato Parkway. Here's a view of the property from looking over the Willamette River towards the northwest. You can see it spans underneath the Broadway Bridge. It's about 2 acres in size. The south parcel there shown in yellow is in the downtown waterfront urban renewal area, and the green parcel is in the River District urban renewal area. You can see that although it's separated from the main part of the downtown and Old Town Chinatown and Pearl District by the railroad tracks, it's actually very close to the downtown area, and there are 2 stairwells connecting Nato Parkway to the bridge. So actually walking up and down those stairwells, you're really close to the downtown area. So here's a few facts about the property. It's just under 2 acres in size. We acquired it in 1987 along with the remainder of the Union Station. We have, over time, developed with development partners many different parcels in this area. This is one of the last parcels from the Union Station acquisition that we still own. It's vacant. It has historical environmental contamination from the prior user. We have characterized that environmental contamination. We have a record of decision from the Department of Environmental Quality, and we've also prepared a contaminated media management plan that guides how soil is handled and disposed of on the property. And the appraised value from a few months ago is $8.8 million. So here's a few pictures of the property so you can get a sense of what it looks like. This is the south parcel. You can see it's flat and vacant. And then on the right there, you can see, looking along the Broadway Bridge, you can see the stairwell leading from the Broadway Bridge down to Nato Parkway. And this is the north parcel. Again, it's flat. Our property ends where that sort of fence line is located. And again, there's another stairwell leading from NATO Parkway up to the Broadway Bridge. So the disposition process has been in June of 2015. We listed this with a broker, CBRE. They marketed the property through various channels. Over the next several months, we received 2 offers to purchase the property, one from Winkler Development and one from the Wolf Company. After evaluating those offers, Wolf was selected as the preferred developer, and we entered in negotiations with them, leading to the purchase and sale agreement that is before you today for approval. So this is the proposed development. It's early. It's still a concept design, but what they're planning to do is on the north parcel build a building that has about 230 apartments. On the south parcel, a building with about 110 apartments. In between, there would be parking. They're planning about 164 parking spaces. In terms of the affordability of the units, there would be at least 68 of those units that would be affordable at 60% of the median family income for at least 10 years. And in addition to that, Wolf was planning for 55 of those units to be affordable at that same level for an additional 20 years. And that level of affordability is tied to the type of financing they're planning to bring into this project. In terms of their schedule, as soon as the purchase and sale agreement is approved, they're planning to move forward with design and permitting. They're expecting that to take just over a year, at which time they'd move into construction by late 2017, and that construction would take until August of 2019. So the purchase and sale agreement is attached to your resolution, and the key terms of that are, as I mentioned, the purchase price is $9 million. Because there's going to be some incremental environmental costs, there will be a holdback not to exceed $1.4 million. That amount is still under discussion with the developer as they go through the design process. There will be a 5% brokerage fee because that's how we marketed the property. The proceeds of the net sale will be distributed to the River District and to the downtown waterfront on a pro rata share based upon the amount of the property that's in each of those urban renewal areas. The development is the developer will develop it consistent with the zoning. They will develop it for approximately 340 apartments. I've already touched on the affordability, and they will also comply with PDC's green building and equity policies. The schedule that's in the purchase and sale agreement is that they must close within 12 months of the execution of the purchase and sale agreement. They can extend that closing date by up to 120 days by making $50,000 payments for each 60-day extension, and they must begin construction within 60 days of closing. So the public benefits of this purchase and sale agreement are that we will end up with redeveloping what is currently a vacant, underused property. We will implement the Old Town Chinatown Action Plan. The southern part of this property is located in the Action Plan area. We'll deliver on the city's housing goals, implement PDC's green building and equity policies. And as I mentioned, the sale proceeds will be distributed 59% to the River District, 41% to the downtown waterfront urban renewal area. And then those proceeds can be used to implement additional strategic actions in each of those urban renewal areas. So that concludes my presentation. We're asking you to approve Resolution 7203. And if you have any questions of me, I'm glad to answer them. And as I mentioned, there's representatives from the Wolf Company here as well.
Well, first we'll take questions from the commissioners of you.
I have one question. I noticed in the diagram, it looks like one level below grade parking. Does that have any impact on the environmental costs?
It does, and that's currently under evaluation and discussion. PDC, our policy is that we typically don't reimburse for incremental environmental costs for subgrade parking, and that's what we've discussed with Wolf. They're still evaluating that, and so I think the end result will be we won't pay for that incremental cost associated with subgrade parking, and that if they do put in subgrade parking, they would need to pay for that.
Thank you.
And those additional 20 years, those the 55 units, there's no binding the Wolf Company to do that. Is that right?
I would need to look through the purchase sale agreement. I don't think we're binding them to do that. We are binding them to meet the outcomes of the Portland Housing Bureau's multi-program, and that's the 68 units for at least 10 years. So we're not binding them to the additional affordability.
Well, maybe we can check in with Mr. Rossman about that. Any other questions? Thank you. Let's have Chris Rossman from the Wolf Company come on up. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Chris Rossman. I'm the Vice President of Development for the Pacific Northwest region for the Wolf Company based in Seattle. The Wolf Company is a third-generation family real estate investment and development company. Was founded in Spokane, Washington in 1949, and today is operated by the third generation. Currently, we own approximately 20,000 apartment units throughout the United States. Within that portfolio, that would consist of market-rate apartments, independent living senior housing units, and also below-market affordable housing units. We were first introduced to this property by CBRE when they took it out to market, I believe, in spring of 2015. And since then have been working closely with our group of designers, consultants, and the PDC to work towards this agreement that is before you today. The one thing I did want to touch on, where there seems to be some questions surrounding the affordability, the targets and intentions, we do plan to utilize the multi-program here in Portland, and really the value of that to us was that it allows us to frankly offset a lot of the land price and disproportionately allocate that to the market rate component of the project, allowing us to create more and longer term affordability on the affordable housing component. As a result of that incremental 20 years that Eric touched on, the intention there for the 110 approximate units that will consist of a below market rate mix of housing, we anticipate financing that through a tax credit financing program, and ultimately that's going to require a minimum of 30 years of 50% of the units at 60% of AMI. So ultimately, although the agreement doesn't necessarily, between us and the PDC, doesn't require that incremental timeline, if we proceed forward with that financing mechanism, we would be required to maintain those affordable units for up to 30 years. Lastly, just to touch on what drew us to this property and our desire to proceed with this purchase, we've been very active in the Northwest throughout this cycle. We currently have a 279-unit project under construction out in Hillsborough, and are currently in negotiations on a few other properties in the urban Portland market. For a long time, we've been looking at a property that provides for enough scale to be able to provide a mixed income housing property or project. And in urban Portland, as you know, finding these larger parcels is quite difficult. One of our internal initiatives is to target more mixed income opportunities on West Coast gateway cities, and so this obviously fits that corporate strategy that we have. So first and foremost was simply the location and the size of the parcel. Secondly, just the locational attributes of the property. Obviously, Nadeau Parkway provides a great condition with the river nearby, the tree-lined street, and then also pedestrian and bicycle access up the stairs to the Broadway Bridge, both east to the east side as well as to the Pearl District. So those are our intentions for the property, and I'm happy to answer any questions about our company or our plans for redevelopment.
Welcome to Portland. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Getting off easy today, Mr.
Yeah.
Wolf.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair would accept a motion.
So make a motion to adopt Resolution 7203.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Congratulations, gentlemen, and look forward to a great project. Our next item is an information item, update on South Waterfront, North District implementation, and Southwest Bond Avenue. Geraldine Moyle is, and we have two of you presenting today? Are you just our technology guy? Okay, AV guy.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Chair Kelly and Commissioners. I'm Geraldine Moyle, and I'm a project manager in the Central City team of the Urban Development Department. And I'm here today to give you an update on the South Waterfront North District implementation progress with a focus on the Southwest Bond Avenue extension. And the important thing about the Bond Avenue extension is that it is the remaining piece of north-south circulation in South Waterfront, and it has long been a priority for district stakeholders and property owners. And so just a reminder of how we got here. PDC's investment in the Bond Avenue extension was formally allocated in the 2015 North Macadam URA Amendment Project List, approved in April 2015. And the South Waterfront North District Development Agreement, approved in June 2015, has a list of public projects that include the bond extension, with funding allocations for each identified in Exhibit E of the development agreement, in the anticipation that the Bond Avenue extension would occur in phases. And this slide also lists the other public projects that are included in the development agreement. So as you might recall from the development agreement, the phases of Bond Avenue are tied to development. So our funding, PDC's funding commitments for design and construction are linked to the design and construction of the adjacent development. So on this slide, you'll see in orange OHSU Snitzer Campus and the Knight Cancer Research Building, and the north of Porter segment of Bond Avenue. With Zidell Realty's Block 6 project, the Moody Connector is designed and constructed, and that's in green. With ZRZ Realty's Block 4 project, the Grover extension is completed, and that's in red. And then finally, the final segment of Bond Avenue, which is the Gibbs segment, is completed when ZRZ Realty's development reaches 750,000 square feet over their entire development. And part of that is important because the Moody Bond is the couplet, the north-south couplet through the district, and it was extremely important to our district stakeholders and our partnership with OHSU that that be completed in a timely manner. And so with this, actually the other thing to say would be that OHSU and Zidell initiated design of their KCRB, their Block 6, and their Block 4 projects last fall. And so we initiated 30% design for the full alignment. And so that was an intergovernmental agreement between PDC and PBOT for $500K last year. So we have 100% full design at 30% level, if you will, for the full alignment. Now that OHSU has broken ground on the Knight Cancer Research Building, which they broke ground in June of this year, and they expect to open that building in fall of 2018, that triggers our obligation as a city to start full design and construction of what we call the north of Porter segment of Bond Avenue. It's referred to as the Bond Project in our summary report. And you can see this segment highlighted in this slide. So you have the full Bond Avenue alignment on the left, with the River Parkway to Porter segment highlighted in red. And then on the right, you can see OHSU's Snitzer Campus Master Plan with the KCRB highlighted in orange, the Meade Street extension that connects to Bond also in orange, and then the segment of Bond Avenue that would be completed at this time, which is, again, the River Parkway to Porter segment. I think it's important to note that it won't go through, so it will be a dead end for a while. There are no cars on Porter Avenue, which is where the Tillicum Bridge and the light rail are. So in conjunction with us building the Bond project, OHSU will be building Meade Street, which provides that loop back to Moody until the time that we have the rest of Bond Avenue completed. So with the 30% design from PBOT, which also includes 100% of the wall and surcharge design completed, and now that we know more information from OHSU on their Knight Cancer Research Building and the Zidell projects, we've determined a total project cost for this portion of bond to be $9 million. And we are coming here to give you a briefing on this because we expect the costs for this other segment of bond, to be similar. So we have in the development agreement commitments to fund portions of Bond Avenue south of Porter that provide that connection, and we expect those costs to be similar to these costs. What we've found in our refined design findings are a few items of note. One, construction costs are escalating. We did our preliminary estimate in 2014. It's 2 years later, and construction costs have escalated quite a bit. We are actually including retaining walls in our design and construction at this time. The road is up to 17 feet above existing grade at Porter. And the construction of this road without adjacent development, so there's the area of the OHSU campus that won't be developed until years in the future. We could have done it with interim slope, but because those are development pads and eventually there would be a need for a retaining wall, it's more cost efficient to do it now. It's more structurally sound to do those retaining walls now, and it tees up those development pads for OHSU in the future. Given the timeline for our work, we're also using all-weather fill. So a lot of the surcharging will be done over the winter and the spring, and we want to use all-weather fill to make it, to make it easy for construction and to meet a timeline with OHSU's Knight Cancer Research Building, and then also for structural integrity as well. The road has increased in right-of-way width from 70 feet to 73 feet to meet city transportation goals around pedestrian and bicycles. And it's important to note that while that just seems like it might be 3 feet in width to the right-of-way, it's actually 3 feet in width along the entire 1,400 linear feet of the road, and then also that depth from the 17 feet of depth up at the Tillicum Crossing all the way down to at grade at River Parkway. We now understand the public utility needs in the street, and those are included in the costs. And finally, we are including the site preparation for the street alignment under the Markham Bridge. That's public right-of-way with ODOT owning the bridge above the Markham Bridge. And in order to be efficient and to meet our timeline commitment of opening this street with the Knight Cancer Research Building, we are including the site prep, such as the environmental cleanup and whatnot, for under the Markham Bridge with our cost estimate at this time. So here's an overview of the funding. Again, the bond project is expected to cost $9 million. And the breakout for this funding is as follows. The North Macadam URA tax increment financing stands at the $3.65 million that we committed in our URA amendment and in the development agreement. There's a Business Oregon Immediate Opportunity Fund of $750K. That will be a grant expected to be granted in October. And then finally, the remaining difference will be made up by PBOT with System Development Charge Funds. And Steve Segethi, our PBOT project manager, is in the audience and can answer any questions if needed. So finally, in recap, here's a recap of our expenses to date on the bond project and our future commitment. We've spent $500K on 30% full alignment design. We are now about to go to council, city council, with the bond project PDC PBOT intergovernmental agreement. And again, that's for the River Parkway to Porter segment. It's $3.65 million of North Macadam TIF in 2 fiscal years. So 2.4 in this coming year and 1.2 in the next year. And you can see that also in our 5-year budget. You can see those commitments. And then finally, per the development agreement, our overall funding commitment to the full alignment of Bond Avenue is $8.2 million. And so we have about $4 million remaining for what we often term as south of Porter. So that's the remaining half that connects from Porter all the way to Gibbs where the tram is. So I'm able to answer any questions. And again, Steve Segethi from PBOT is here as well.
Questions?
How does it intersect with the telecom? Does it go on top of it, or does it go underneath it?
So anticipating bond, and actually you can come up here and kick me if I'm wrong. This one is easy. So most of the improvements were completed as part of TriMet's Tillicum Bridge and the Porter Street improvement project, because we knew Bond Street was going to eventually be able to go through. There are some minor improvements that need to occur on each corner.
I guess my question is, will cars
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
question.
yeah.
cross
So it'll,
over
um,
telecom?
So Steve Sigathy, PBOT Project Management. It'll be an at-grade intersection, so it's a four-way at-grade intersection. And
So you're bringing that up to the level of...
correct. At that point, Bond will be matching the grade of Porter Street, Tillicum Crossing Bridgehead, about 17 feet above existing grade. The traffic situation, I don't know if this was part of your question, but we won't have private cars going across that until the point that the Zidell portion of Bond is
The
constructed.
second question I have is, you're obviously building this today, and OHSU's got future components to come along that'll have to butt against this. I assume there is no risk of them coming back and saying, we changed our mind about our design, we want this moved this way or that way, or, I mean, once it's built, it's done.
So we have worked through the fall, actually, with OHSU to set a new alignment for this portion of Bond. So that alignment with OHSU went to Design Commission and City Council. So we're fairly certain this is where they would like the road, and where the city would like the road. We do have an agreement with OHSU that we are not doing final improvements on the west side, so no sidewalks, no permanent streetlights and whatnot until they're ready to develop that portion, because it makes sense to do those with adjacent development. And there is a section of this area that is in a special design area, which we will be working with OHSU and then with the city on the Greenway side to do those improvements at a later date.
You mentioned you're fairly certain. Do we have additional steps to take to make sure we're absolutely certain?
We're absolutely certain.
Okay, thank you.
What you'll see when it's constructed is you'll see some temporary asphalt pathways on both sides of the street, and then those would get ripped out and replaced with permanent concrete frontage improvements.
Thank you.
I guess I'm going to just make the comment that, looking forward to the next section, that, in the new environment of necessary fiscal discipline, that we will need to hold the line on the money that we've allocated. It's unlikely to increase in the future. That makes sense.
Duly noted.
Is that all our business? Wow, that's, I guess if I was going to be late for a meeting, this needed to be the one. In that case, we will adjourn. Thank you.